The name that frightened the notorious Britishers, the name that inspired freedom struggle and stood as epitome for freedom, the name that filled courage in the hearts of the tribals, starting from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, the name that stood as the symbolic rendition of vigorous valor, and the name that people of Andhra Pradesh would immediately bow for his legacy, sacrifice, and heroic deeds. He is Ramaraju, none other than the great Alluri Sita Ramaraju. He exists in the collective psyche of public as hero, tribal leader for his fierce and uncompromising bravery. The story of Alluri Sita Ramaraju is the story of Telugu pride. The story of Alluri Sita Ramaraju is the story of freedom struggle. The story of Alluri Sita Ramaraju is the story the tribals would never forget and would eternally be grateful for. Let us go back to the history to understand the context. India, the land of sacred knowledge, the land that is the source for wisdom, and the country that is bestowed with riches. India had been the target for the foreign conspiracies, right from the Alexander to Britishers. Everyone's aim was to loot the riches and topple the social order of the country. The foreign invasion started with Vasco da Gama when he first landed at the port of Calicut on 20th May 1498. Later, Dutch East India Company and consequently French East India Company. Finally, conquest continued till British East India Company entered India and started grabbing India's rich natural resources by creating the social and cultural differences among people. With the consequent conquests and depriving social order, India had entered the dark ages of slavery under the rule of British. The ancestry of Ramaraju, who popularly known as Alluri Sita Ramaraju, hail from Bhupadi village in Guntur district of Andhra Pradesh. Over time, they settled in the place called Mogalu of present-day West Godavari district. Sri Ramaraju was the first child of Alluri Venkata Ramaraju and Narayanamma. Sri Ramaraju was born on July 4, 1897 under Makar Nakshatra Chaturda Charanyukta Scorpio Lagnam at 4 p.m. in Pandrangi, Visakhapatnam district. Ramaraju spent most of his childhood in Moglu. Ramaraju's father was a good photographer. However, when he died of cholera in the Godavari Pushkars in 1908, the family became devastated. Sri Ramaraju was educated at Narasapuram Tailor School in Ramachandrapuram and Kakinada Pitapuram Rajavari High School. During his education days in Kakinada, Ramaraja's love for art came to light. Shashireka Paraniyam was acclaimed by the audience for his performance as Shashireka and Narada in the play. Madhuri Annapurnaya, a well-known patriot, was also a colleague of Ramaraju. Sri Ramaraju had a rebellious nature from a young age. He protested the exploitation of the British government from a young age. The independence of our country was what he deeply longed for. So he learned to use a stick fight, sword fight, weapon education, and a gun. He also mastered palmistry and herbal medicine. He also mastered fluency in Hindi and English. The young Ramaraju traveled throughout the country and traveled all the way to Brahmakapalam. He was heartbroken to see the plight of the Indians under the British rule. He seriously thought of expelling the foreign powers. that have invaded our India through fraud and deceit. That was on his conscience. This was his will and his profound desire. The fight that started to free Mother India from the clutches of Britishers had been rampant for decades. Out of oppression, great leaders were born and initiated revolutionary methods to achieve freedom. The world had witnessed the great Indian freedom struggle and the sacrifices of courageous men. In the span of 190 years, Indian freedom struggle started with Plassey War, Sepoy Mutiny in 1857, and many more revolutionary movements that paved the way to helm the movement for the great leaders like Siraj-ud-Dawla, Jhansi Lakshmibai, Tantia Tope, Gopalakrishna Gokhale, Bala Gangadhar Tilak, Annie Besant, and many more. Every leader had the same goal: to free Mother India. One among such great heroes was Alluri Sita Ramaraju, the one that made English quiver with fear, tremble with meekness, whose sole aim was to free the tribals of Andhra Pradesh. He is one of the great tribal leaders ever lived and will be remembered for the generations to come. Land is ours, wind is ours, forest is ours, Mother Nature is ours. How can you own them? What right do you have to exploit our land? We can't tolerate anymore. No more slavery and no more drudgery. The Mother India had been in the clutches of Britishers and had been ruthlessly exploited by them. Tribals of India were not an exception either. Their plight was devastating. The lives of tribals in the serene woods had been exploited, looted, and thrashed. The struggle to earn the daily bread had become so intense, and hardly they procured enough food for the survival. Tribals who trusted forest for their livelihood were constantly looted by zamindars, financiers, and authorities. The constant disparities in the weights of the goods procured by the tribals, lowest prices, and conspiracies to exploit them made the lives of tribals appalling. Looting had become common phenomena everywhere. They neither had the education to question nor leadership to rebel. They just surrendered. Meekness prevailed. In 1822, able British officer, Madras Governor Thomas Mano, concentrated on the issues of tribals to save them from the shackles of zamindars and financiers. As a result, lots of revenue reformations had been made. Yet, the lives of Girijans had not changed. Exploitation continued. Group politics surfaced. Few of the villages in tribal area used to form into a group and had started paying taxes to the British government. Due to this middleman dynamics, situations had become worse. Those who failed to pay the taxes had been confiscated. Why haven't you paid the tax? How can we pay taxes if we don't have food to eat? How dare you? It's struggle for existence. Don't talk rubbish. Gradually, agency laws had been emerged. Tribals had been exploited everywhere and been the victims of conspiracy since centuries. The forest acts that were proposed proved fatal to the existence of tribals. The reign of Britishers had been preposterous and violence existed everywhere. Lots of cheaters who hailed Britishers for their selfish needs started exploiting tribals. They did not even spare calm, earthly tribal women. Many heinous incidents shook the tribal areas, and women had been the victims of physical and sexual abuse.
Their plight was alarming. No one would come to the rescue. Many innocent tribal women had been exploited by treacherous bastions. That was the year 1822. The road construction was being carried upon. It seems like the welfare activity. However, in disguise, it is the conspiracy by British government to grab the rich heritage of tribals. The road had been laid out from Kondasanta to Lambasinghi in Visakhapatnam district. The job was hard and the toil was evident. The tribals worked for the entire day. In the midst of hot summer, the rebellion started and it was evident from their tears, sweat, blood and toil. The lives of tribals had been deteriorating day by day. The years of freedom cherished by them began to lose its luster. Farming had become crime. As a result, tribals suffered. Daily bread was threatened. The Forest Act prohibited chopping trees. Tribals lost their livelihood. Britishers prohibited procurement. Hence, tribals lost their financial source. Financiers looted tribals with exorbitant interest rates. Traditional vipasara, locally made alcohol, was prohibited too. To sum up, tribals had been exploited financially, physically, and psychologically. Their existence had been threatened. Lives were thrashed. Those who rebelled were confiscated or tortured brutally. Gloominess prevailed everywhere. Out of the oppression and exploitation sparked rebellion to heal the hearts, mend the souls, and free the tribals from the shackles of slavery, treachery, and drudgery.
Rebellion had started to stop oppression. Revolution had begun against drudgery. Hero was born to question the conspiracies of Munsabs and exploitation by Britishers. He is none other than Dwara Bandala Chandraya, who is known for his bravery in Mampa Revolution in 1879. Mampa Revolution had started in the forest of Godavari district and extended up to Golconda forest in Visakhapatnam district till Rekapalli near Bhadrachalam. Dear kith and kin, start introspecting and move with ferocity and kill all the Britishers and burn the pyre alive. Hail Mother Forest! Hail Mother Forest! The tribal's fate had toppled. On February 12, 1880, Chandraya died. The Britishers had started to arrest his followers and slowly began to suppress the revolution by inhuman methods. Finally, the revolution disappeared into the oblivion. Tribals ended up at ground zero. History resurfaced. The British started to oppress, exploit, and torture tribals. The tribals prefer serenity. They are usually calm and give importance to integrity. Having had enough with constant treachery, they decided to revolt again. The group of tribals looted Gudam police station in the year 1886, and this was conspired by Kondadoras. The British arrested 30 tribals who involved in this looting. In the year 1916, another incident happened. The tribals revolted against Forest Act. Under the leadership of Mangaraju, Koya and Konda Kamara warriors fought against Britishers in Kondapalli and Lagurai. The conquest happened in 2000 square kilometer area and continued till 1 year. Finally, all the warriors had been caught and imprisoned by Britishers. The entire Kondapalli village had been burned by special police. Burn up the entire village! Even lots of revolts had been suppressed. There was no going back for tribals. Not even a trace of fear nor panic. They were ready to plunge and were always ready to fight against Britishers, no matter what. New Tahsildar had been appointed by British. His name was Bastian. In the name of laying down roads and with the assistance of local tribal Santanam Pillai, he started exploiting tribal energies and paid nothing. His treacherous nature irked the tribals. Looting had become the habit. One day, all the tribals met village head Gantam Dora and Mallu Dora in a tribal village in front of thatched house. Tribals were gathered. Gantam Dora, you're the head of the village. You have to guide us. We follow you. Treacherous Bastion and became a menace. All our tribals have been suffering. Those who revolted would get severe beating and were physically tortured. Our women are getting raped. Brother, just give a nod. I'll go and kill Bastion. Brother, stop. Let us not revolt. First, let us go and complain Tahsildar, and then we will take the decision. Meanwhile, you stay calm. What you're doing is preposterous. Who are you to insult me? I'm the head of the village. Just shut up. How dare you to insult my brother?
Stop, Mallu! How dare you to rebel against English, Dora?
Who are you to stop me? You being the puppet of the Britishers. Mallu, just stop. Dora, our tribals are innocent. Please don't torture them. I beg you to spare them. How dare you? Mallu, I haven't slept last night. Had you not restricted him, I would have killed that Bastion. We need justice, Mallu, not revenge.
It's because of that bloody Bastion we are in plight.
Along with him, Santan and Pillai is also conspiring against us.
Nobody is an exception. Everyone is looting us.
Not only them, we have been exploited by lots of financiers, forest officers. They would always treat us mean and curb our rights. Let us kill all of them. Mallu, please listen to your brother. How can I not be furious? He humiliated my brother and had beaten him using his leg. I could have broken his leg on the spot. Please, brother, give me the permission to kill him. It's not easy as you think, Mallu. Brother, we need a leader. Who would match your leadership, Gantam Dora? We need a great leader who would fight against the Britishers, who would free us from this slavery and drudgery. Brother, a man named Raju. It seems he has extraordinary abilities. He was born in Pandranki. His name is Alluri Sita Ramaraju. He is into meditation, it seems, like monk. Our people like him a lot. Our people respect him too. Come, let us go to Alluri Sita Ramaraju and plead him to solve our plight. Filled with a heart full of passion for independence, Sri Ramaraju walked towards Krishna Devi Peta. With a heavy heart and intense thought, Sri Ramaraju met Chitikala Bhaskar. Chitikala Bhaskara's mother, Chitikala Somamma, supported Ramaraju a lot. Bathing in the Thandava river at the Neelakanteshwara temple became a daily ritual for Ramaraju. Aishwarachana became routine for the Ramaraju. Gradually, with his medical knowledge, palmistry, and friendliness, Sri Ramaraju gained a good place in the minds of the tribes. British government began to fear about Raju's growing popularity in the forest area, and they offered 50 acres of land and cattle in Pedi Putta village to surrender him. Sri Ramaraju was waiting for the right time, for the right context to revolt. By gradually observing the situation and doing temporary farming, flames in his heart, a wild fire in the mind, forest area with tribal groups is raging. We are being looted, drudging in slavery, and it's being repeated. We have reached saturation point, yet we can't do anything. Please do some magical tricks and save us from this treachery. Sorcery is not the solution. Mallu, please don't mind. My brother is short-tempered. We need people like your brother. I'm ready. We need you, Mallu Dora. Nobody is going to heed our plight. The Britishers have come for business and looting Mother India. True, my lord. Yes, my lord. To be free from the shackles of this treachery, we need to fight and persist. Let us kill that bastard Bastion. Don't be hasty. Yes, my lord. Our opponent is not meager. We have to face the mighty battalion. True, my lord. Gantam Dora, inspire everyone to unite. Make them stop getting addicted to alcohol, and we have to look after our own welfare. Education is must. For that, we must have night schools. Gather everyone and convey the message.
Yes, my lord, I will. Gradually, we have to build the mighty battalion of tribals with excellence in sword fight, archery, and artillery. Where do we get the guns, my lord? Let us attack police stations and gather our weapons. Hail, Alluri Sita Ramaraju! Hail, Alluri Sita Ramaraju! Sita Ramaraju sparked change in the tribal villages. He started night schools, inspired people with legendary struggles of great heroes. Disparities among the villages were shunned, introduced Panchayati Raj welfare system and educated villages about alcohol addiction, managed to inspire tribals to get rid of alcohol. Cleanliness was taught. Discipline had become the norm. Everybody got trained in archery, sword fight and artillery. Finally, tribals had become a might force to rebel against the Britishers. Alluri Sita Ramaraju hailed as one of the greatest tribal heroes ever lived. 1922, August 19. It was the day of another revolution in the tribal forest area, also known as Manyam. After enduring hardships and tortures, this was the day when tribal heroes fought against slavery. It was one of the most significant days in the history of the nation. Gantam Dora, Mallu Dora, Padalu, this is the most important day in our lives. It is a day to teach those arrogant foreign rulers who came to our country for trade and enslaved us and sacrificed our lives and hardships. It is a day when all tribal leaders who consider goddess as their virtue rebel to injustice and rewrite history. Let's go ahead and hit the Chintapalli police station and hold the guns. Hail Alluri Sita Ramaraju! Hail Alluri Sita Ramaraju!
Hail!
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 1922, August 19th. The winds of the revolution started to blow in Manyam. Every single police station surrendered before the heroism of the tribal heroes. On August 22, 1922, the Chintapalli police station was dismantled. On August 23rd, revolutionaries robbed the Krishnadevipeta police station. As a result, the English government was horrified by the bravery of the tribal heroes. It was Rajavomangi police station. Inspector, sounds like all these cases are false cases against innocent tribal people.
Yes, sir.
Swami, kill this policeman. No, this inspector is like one among us. Our Indian. Killing our Indians is not our goal. It should not be. Swami, leave him. Inspector, you're lying for salary and betraying your fellow men.
Please excuse me, sir. I had lost my senses. I will never again oppress the tribals, sir.
We are carrying weapons here. Our revolutionary goal is to overthrow the government, with which weapons your British government tortured our innocent tribesmen.
Bring the guns. Take away the bombs.
Get the bayonets!
Ramaraju, the hero in the station is none other than Metadam Veeraya Dora. This hero was accused of being involved in the Lagurai conspiracy.
Release, Inspector. Where are the keys?
We lost the keys, sir. We have been looking for it for 3 days.
This person has not been able to meet even the minimum requirements for 3 days. How wicked are you? Gantam Dora, come on, break the lock! Gradually, the victories of the Manyam Revolution became well known all over India. Many were inspired to hear about the prowess of the tribal heroes and the success of Ramaraju's leadership all over the country. People were discussing about Ramaraju's tactics for fighting the British. On the other hand, the British government sent many British officials, including the coward and hater, to suppress the Manyam Revolution. The coward and hater, with army troops, landed Chintapalli forests to suppress the revolution. It was the greatest day in the history of the revolution. September 24th, 1922. Those were Chintapalli forests. Gantam Dora, those coming are the coward and hater. They are demons in human form. They both have to fall with a single blow.
Erasu, aim on the target.
Hail Alluri Sita Ramaraju! Hail Alluri Sita Ramaraju! Hail Alluri Sita Ramaraju! Hail Alluri Sita Ramaraju! The British government trembled at the death of the coward and hater. To suppress the Maniam revolution, it deployed a number of forces into the agency area. Assam Rifles too entered the scene and started shifting the agency area. The Malabar Police also entered the agency. Innocent tribals were tortured in the villages to tell the whereabouts of the revolutionaries. The British government valued the heads of the revolutionaries. Tribal heroes fought bravely by sending chili bombs in the case of Adda Tigala Police Station and Rampa Chodavaram Police Station. On April 17, 1923, Ramaraju with his followers visited Annavaram to praise Satyanarayana Swami. Although the revolutionaries appeared in public, the foreign government could do nothing. Ramaraju spoke to reporters. Why this revolution? For the independence of the country. For what else? To curb the ongoing exploitation of these tribes. With a few tribals, is it possible to revolt such a large British empire? Nothing is impossible if a man thinks. Can these tribals revolt against the British army? The tribals are very powerful. Nothing could stop them if they are properly trained. We had already proved it. You know it. Now this country knows it too. The Queen of London knows it. Such is the power of our great tribal heroes. The Manya struggle continued unabated. Tribal heroes bowed down to goddess Kali on Dara Hill. Tribal warriors, along with Ramaraju, went to Malkanagiri, attacked the police station and the government treasury. Later, Sita Ramaraju strongly warned the Malkanagiri deputy Tahsildar that he would continue the fight till the foreign government is dethroned. Gradually, the agency people began to face immense pressure of the armies. Swaney, a British officer, created terror in the agency. Mallu, Ramaraju's chief follower, gets caught under the auspices of Underwood. Mallu Dora was then sent to the Andaman prison. This was a major blow to the Manya revolution. The police then entered the villages and tortured the people to tell them the whereabouts of the revolutionaries. Many villages were burnt. It was the tyranny of the rulers that was seen everywhere in the Manyam area. The wickedness of the British prevailed throughout the Manyam region. They terrified the people. Ramaraju's heart melted at the plight of the tribal people. On 17th April 1924, Rutherford was appointed as Special Commissioner of the agency. Rutherford, who had earlier suppressed the day-to-day struggle as Guntur district collector, mobilized all forces to end the Manya revolution. Rutherford, whose sole aim was to crush the revolutionaries, organized a large meeting in Krishnadevipeta and frightened the people in many ways. Remember, you all have to hand over Ramaraju within a week. If Raju is caught, I will give a reward of 10,000 rupees. If you do not catch Raju, all of you will be tied to the trees and burnt alive. Your wish is my command, sir. Remember, especially you remember, if you do not get hold of Raju and surrender him, I will tie you, along with your wife and children, to a tree and will burn to death. Be careful. Words cannot describe the atrocities committed by the English government to suppress the Manya revolution. The whole agency area was mourning and all the villages were on fire. Destroy everything. Ramaraju was very saddened by that situation. With his self-sacrifice, Ramaraju felt that the hardships of the tribesmen would be removed and peace would prevail in Manya. Gantam Dora,
I myself will go and surrender to Rutherford.
Raju, they will kill you.
It's because of me. So many people are being tortured. Without you, how could we win this revolt? Rather than thinking about victories and defeats now, there is a great need to keep the peace in this Manyam area.
No, Swami, don't go.
May peace prevail in the lives of these tribal people. For this, I must surrender. I must not give up if I want peace in these tribal lives.
Ramaraju, Ramaraju.
Raju was heartbroken to see British government officials torturing tribals. With his sacrifice, Ramaraju decided to end the movement and save the lives of the tribals. It was the village of Mamba in Visakhapatnam district on the night of May 6, 1924. On the top of this great mountain, Sita Ramaraju, with a grieved heart, spent counting the moments. At dawn, as Ramaraju came down from the mountains and was about to bathe in the pool, some malevolent person notices that and passed that information on to the evil British authorities. The unarmed Sita Ramaraju was captured and handcuffed to a mattress and taken to Major Godal in Koyuru by Inspector R. Varu Naidu, Jamindar Kunchamenan. It is May 27, 1924. Major Godal restrained Mr. Ramaraju, who came to fill with peace in the lives of tribal people.
Are you Ramaraju?
Yes, why you did this revolution? For my country, for my tribal people, to make my tribal people free from slavery under the British rule. In the great British Empire, you're all ants in our empire. You can't do anything against us. Even a big snake can die by the group of ants. Don't forget. Don't talk. I will shoot you. Shoot me? I'm not a coward. I don't have fear to die. Even if I die today, many revolutionary people can be born from the fires of my desire. They will bring us independence to my motherland.
Shoot it!
Vande Mataram! Vande Mataram! To the east, a bright star fell to the ground. It was a superhero's supreme sacrifice who just gave up his precious life. A daring young man who fought valiantly unto death to break the shackles of Bharatamata from slavery. The ground was anointed with the blood of that great warrior. Ramaraju's dead body was tied to a rope on cot and sent to Krishna Devi Peta, and his body photographed. After Panchanama, the body was cremated in the early hours of the day. The physical body of Alluri Sita Ramaraju was buried on the Tandava river bank. Alluri Sita Ramaraju sacrificed his life for the freedom of the motherland. The victory song of Alluri Sita Ramaraju continues to resonate in the hills, forests, and in the memories of tribal life. After the sacrifice of Sita Ramaraju, the tribal warriors fought courageously with the British government. Many were killed in that fight, and many more were hanged. On 1924, May 26th, the great warrior Endu Padal was killed. Sankoja Mukkadu was arrested and sentenced to 12 years in prison. Gantam Dora died on June 7th in a heroic fight. Gokuri Erasu was arrested on June 10th in Narsipatnam. Bonkula Modigadu got caught on June 16th. Many tribal heroes were arrested and tortured in prisons. Others died in anonymity. Even their names have gone down in history, which is our misfortune. The Manya Revolution, which lasted for almost 2 years, was a great chapter in the history of the Indian independence struggle. An unforgettable story. Although the revolution failed, their sacrifices were not in vain. The whole country followed their footsteps in the path they had provided and took part in the Satyagraha struggle. On August 15, 1947, India became independent after overthrowing British rule. The street was abuzz with pride while the tricolor flag
was flying high against the wind, flying and flying, opening a tribal museum commemorating the Maniam Revolution will be a true tribute we pay to those freedom fighters. Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the nation, praised Alluri Sita Ramaraju, and he says we should all practice Alluri Sita Ramaraju's unwavering courage, focus, concentration, and good character. Sri Ramaraju is a true hero. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose says Indian youth should not forget to adore heroes like Sita Ramaraju. The hero never dies. The revolution will not be defeated.